Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Niners Now podcast. I am your host, Niners Sickness, with my co host, Jess. How is everyone doing? Hoping we're having a fabulous Thursday afternoon. We're going to talk 49er football. We're going to talk the offseason, all right after this.
What's up, faithful? Welcome to the Niners Now podcast. Niners Jess here, Niner Beto. Show starts now. Let's go. Go Niners.
New era. Here we go. New era. Yeah. You ain't never seen nothing like this. Hey, hey, hey. I'm about to blow your mind with a twist. Hit the lights, here I go, go, go. Hey, hey, hey. I make the rules, I run the show. Get ready, get ready, get ready for it. Get ready. I'm in my new era. I'm back. I'm better in my new era. I'm back. I'm better in my new era. New era.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Niners Now podcast. Jess, how are we doing today?
Doing great. It's good to be back. How are you?
I'm doing great on a Thursday evening. What a day, what a week. The NFL Combine started today. Defensive backs and the linebackers ran their 40, did their thing. I don't know how much you're into the NFL Combine, but I like and I enjoy it. Do you watch that, by the way?
I do watch it. I haven't had a chance to tune in today, but I do watch it.
Yeah, I like to kind of see what these guys, how athletic they are, how much weight can they pull. But most importantly, what's important is what they can do on the field, right? Especially a D tackle. Maybe they don't run the best 40, but how much running is he really going to be doing distance-wise when he's bulldozing tackle guards or tackles? So, but it is nice to watch. Well, let's go ahead and start with our first topic of the evening. The Niners own the 11th pick overall in the 2025 NFL Draft based on our record in 2024. What position should the Niners focus on with this pick?
I am going to go defensive tackle
And why?
because this is them. This is what they do, and we're in dire need of interior linemen.
Is there a particular lineman out of a certain college that you're looking into or interested in seeing if the Niners pursue that individual?
I'm kind of Mason Graham, Walter Nolan, along those lines.
Okay. Well, Graham out of Michigan, you're gonna have to move up. The Niners are gonna have to move up if that is someone they want to pursue, because I don't think he'll be there at 11. The Niners definitely have the ammunition to move up. They have 10 picks in this draft, so we shall see what John Lynch and Kyle does. Now they are very active on draft day. We have seen the Niners move up. We have seen the Niners move down. So I expect something to happen. I prefer them to move back and take a player and get a little bit more draft picks. Would you rather move up or down?
I don't know. I think I'd rather stay put, to be honest. I mean, I know people, want them to move back, get more draft picks, but I would like to see them stay put and see what they do at 11.
Yeah, there are going to be so many options at 11 for them to pick up. Let me let this guys out. I talk, they talk. Hold on. Yep. All right, come on, join the show. These guys. Come on, you want to join the show? Come on, say hi. Come on. No, all right, it's being shy. But so yeah, I mean, there's so many needs on this team. One of the needs that I like is in the trenches, both offensive line or defensive line. I think the Niners most likely probably going to look in the defensive line position. I know that Niner fans really want a tackle opposite of our brother Trent Williams that has a year or two left, eventually play on the right and then move to the left. But I think the Niners are going to focus, and I could be wrong, but I think the Niners are going to focus really much in the trenches of the defensive side. We got ran all over. Running backs were running on us like it was nobody's business. We gave a lot of miles in between the tackles last year, and I think that's something that Robert Saleh is not going to tolerate. I think they're going to focus on a big guy in the middle. I know Niners fans also want a pass rusher. That is a possibility, in my opinion, but I think they're going to go for a couple of key players inside to hopefully contain that run. What are your thoughts, Jess?
I mean, I would actually be kind of surprised if they went O lineman at 11. And given their history since they've been here, with the exception of the pick of Trey Lance, they've pretty much always went D lineman. But I think Robert Saleh is going to be banging the table for D lineman for sure at that pick.
Yeah, I agree. A couple of guys that I'm looking at is Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. He played alongside Mason Graham, so I like Grant there. Then you spoke of Walter Nolan, the kid from Ole Miss, a pretty good guy. I heard a lot of great things about him. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. Also, there's a guy that I want to talk a little bit. He is coming from Oregon, Derek Harmon. He's a Duck. For those who don't remember, we got two Ducks a few years ago when we got Eric Armstead, and then the following we got DeForest Buckner. They worked out pretty good for us. So when it comes to Oregon boys in the middle are pretty good. Have you saw any tape or heard anything about this kid that you might want to enlighten us with, Jess?
I have not, so I'm waiting to hear from you.
Okay. Well, I like this kid. This guy, he's strong, big boy, 310 pounds, 6'5". He's massive. He's a junior. He's played a lot in the B gap, not so much in the A gap. He's kind of roams around, outside to tackle. I prefer inside, but this guy is a beast. I like what I've seen, and he's great against the run. The guy is always sniffing the ball. Wherever the ball's at, he is. Lemite Cordelone. And I like this kid. I think this kid can be taken in the second round, so we don't have to necessarily go inside in the first round. We can take this guy in the second round, and I think this kid could be special. And I'm hoping the Niners take a look at him. Now, I don't know if the Niners have interviewed him yet, but this is a kid that I watched tape on, and I kind of did a video, and I broke down the film on him. If you guys want to watch that on my channel. Great kid. I look forward to seeing if the Niners, or where he goes, most importantly, but hopefully the Niners take a close look at him. Let's talk a little bit about the offense, Jess. There's a kid out of Ohio State. He got hurt, unfortunately for him, missed most of the year last year. And because of that, he's going to fall a little bit down the draft chart. Normally, if he would have stayed healthy, this kid would have been a top. Ow! No, a top three. Bit my ear. A top three pick overall. Probably be the first offensive lineman to go, but because of injury, he has stepped down. He has fallen down. I'm talking about the kid, Josh Simmons. What are your thoughts of him?
I don't know too much about him, but from where he's coming from, I mean, they had a really good offense.
No.
So I mean, that any help we can get on the offense is good, but I think it all starts with Kyle Shanahan this year, to be honest. And I'm glad that we have uh, Robert Saleh back, so Kyle can focus on the offense. So I welcome any offensive weapon who's really good.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, I like this kid. This guy's a mauler. He this I mean, he's a great tackle. I love when he played there. I like his stance. I love his feet work. This kid is special. I think getting now he's coming off an injury, and that's why he's fallen. He might still, depending on what he does on pro day, in the combine, he might go higher than 11. But if he falls to 11, he might be the exception that I would take him in a heartbeat. He's normally left tackle, but he can play right tackle. We can put him there at tackle alongside our brother. And next year when he retires, then you can move him over. When Trent Williams decides to call it quits, you can move him over and you have your left tackle for another 10 years from there. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm excited about the draft, though. Not necessarily that we're picking 11, although I do like 11 because we can get a good player. I just don't like the fact that we have 11 for the fact that means we didn't win that many games. I rather pick low in the first round, knowing that we make the playoffs an opportunity to hit the Super Bowl. Let me ask you a question. If the Niners can stay healthy in 2025 and they can get some pieces, whether it's or both free agency and they draft well like they did last year, how far do you think the Niners can go in 2024? A lot of people, so-called specialists, are saying that they're going to miss the playoffs for the next couple of years because they're rebuilding. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, one, we're not rebuilding, we're just retooling. Um, there's a little bit of a difference there, but I actually think we'll go pretty far. I mean, we have a favorable schedule. We've had the extra rest, for the off season, and I hate when you do that because now I lost my train of thought. Um, but I think we're gonna do really well next year. This is a huge off season for Kyle and John, and I think we'll be really good.
Yeah, I do that because I want everyone that is a guest or partner of mine to, when you're speaking, people get to see you, get a closer look up, and focus on you. Plus, I was trying to get this bird from biting my ear. So I took an opportunity to get off camera for that because they're very playful and they mistake the cord for my ear. So they're not vicious, but the bite still hurts the same whether they mean to bite or not. And I don't want to cry. I don't want to scream on live TV. So I want to make sure that So anyway, that's why I put you solo. But yeah, I'm excited. Listen, guys, we haven't been on here in this show. I've been real busy. Jess has been ready to go for the last few weeks, but unfortunately, I've been doing some remodeling in the home, and the wife wants things done, and I had to take care of some things in the house. So now that's kind of calmed down a little bit, and we're back and looking forward to going live every week here, as long as we're both available every Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific and 7 p.m. Eastern for an hour to talk football. We don't really break too much of the X's and O on this show. We kind of, what's the word I want to use? I don't want to say we're what's the word? Fanboy of our team, but we love our team, and we like to talk highly of our team, and we like to talk positive. Do we know that certain things need to be fixed? Yes. Do we know that Kyle may have some issues here and there? Yes. Nobody's perfect. Everybody has their issues, but we like to stay positive on here, and so we're always going to talk highly about our team, whether you guys agree or not. You guys can agree or disagree. That's fine. But, listen, if you wear the red and gold, you're part of the team. And I want you to succeed, whether you're the coach, the GM, the janitor, whatever part of the team you're involved in. I want everyone to succeed because they are representing the Shield, which is the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm going to speak highly of Kyle. Now, do I have my concerns in certain areas? Yes. There are shows that I do that I speak about that. But here we like to be positive and just focus on the positive things, where the Niners are going, what they can do, and keep it that type of show. Anything you want to add to that from your personal perspective?
Yeah, I
Jess?
mean, we don't like you said, we don't get too involved. But we're here to talk about our team, interact with the chat and have some fun.
Exactly. And see the positive in anything.
There's too many negative shows out there
Yeah,
that,
and nothing wrong with
you need some
the
positivity.
exactly. And there's nothing wrong with those shows. I mean, they want to break it down the way they want to break it. One of the beautiful things of having a show, I always encourage people, if you have a lot to say or you disagree with a lot of people on the screen, I advise you to start your own show so that you can express how you feel about your team. And there you can talk and say what you want. And people that agree with you may follow you and so forth. I always encourage people to get involved in a podcast and coming on the camera. But there are shows for everything. It's like going into a buffet restaurant. Imagine if you went into a buffet, but all they served was chicken, just all different types of chicken, but just chicken. Well, I don't know about you, Jess, but I'm like, so it's barbecue and this is fried, but it's still chicken, right? I want to be able to, steak, fish, or so forth. And this is what we do. We give you the positive side of football, the positive things of the Niners, what's going on. And there's other shows that may speak opposite of we do, and that's the beautiful thing about podcasts. So the Niners Now podcast is a podcast that you're going to get entertained, you're going to get valuable information, the truth, but it's also going to be positive. So if you're coming to hear negative talk about Kyle, now on other shows that I do by myself, others, I'll express how I really feel. I'm not saying that I'm saying Kyle's perfect. I'll have a show on my own channel where I may speak about his imperfectness, but here we keep it pretty faithful, because I think that word has lost the meaning in San Francisco. We are the faithful, and it seems like the faithfulness has gone away because of all the negative talk, right?
Yeah, I seem to think that it's more the fakeful
The hateful.
than the
Got
faithful
you.
unfortunately. But there's still a good number of the faithful out there, myself included. So we're still there. You as well.
Yeah. And you made a valid point. In life, there's so much hate already. There's so much this and so much that. So, I don't know about you, Jess, but to me, having a show or watching it shows to kind of get away from the manners of the world, right? You work 8 hours, you work 10 hours, you got to pay your bills, you got to deal with your spouse, your kids, or whatever in regular life you got to deal with. So if you come to a show and you want to escape the world war for an hour, kind of get yourself entertained and you're still hearing negative and negative and negative, it's like, man. So we try to keep it positive so that, you come here, lose yourself for an hour, have fun, and then unfortunately we have to go back to our real lives after an hour. So if we can keep you entertained for an hour and allow you to forget about your situation, then we did our job. So with that said, we come on every Thursday as long as everything's good with me and Jess, and we're available for that day at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So please make a note of that. And if you're watching this video on the replay, please make sure that you hit the subscription and also the notification bell so that you will be notified each and every time we go live. So with that said, Jess, let's talk a little bit about our receiver who has requested a trade. And the Niners have granted that trade and have given them permission, him and his representative, to go look for a possible trade. Before you answer, I just want to say hello to Dina Harvey, who just came in. Daniel
up, Dina?
Burry Sports. Welcome to the channel. So, what is your whole thought process as a fan? And then put yourself a little bit as a GM of the Niners and give us both perspective on the Debo situation.
Well, as a fan, I'm ready to say adios, Debo. I just think that he's ran his course with the Niners. All the, I specifically got tired with all the antics, around the contract time. And then, even this past season with him saying, like, I'm not washed up. I'm just getting the ball, whatever he said. I'm not getting the ball rather. So it's, I don't know. I'm ready to see him go. As far as a GM goes, I want to get like the best possible thing for him. Whether it's a pick, I'll take a pick. But it depends on the interest as well, and the money. A lot of things go into it. Is he just going to be released? I'd rather trade him. Ship him off to Carolina or ship him to the Browns. So that's my take on it. What about you?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. His play has declined. His best season as a Niner was 2021. And from that point, whether it's injuries or whatever, his play has declined. Now, me personally, and I'm speaking for myself, I don't care about the antics. I don't care if they say this or say that. I can care less. Receivers are divas, and they're always going to be divas. But I want to see production on the field. If you're talking your talk, but you're backing it up with action, and you're moving the ball and you're helping your team win, then I'm okay with the antics. I don't like them, but I can just overlook them. It's when you know, Roxy, when you do the things you say and then don't back it up, like missing the ball, not catching the ball, coming a little bit overweight, things like that. I like Debo. I think getting a break will benefit both the Niners and Debo. Debo getting a new start. Sometimes you go to a new team, you go to new coaches, and you kind of get that second win and so forth. I think we will miss him, but I want to get rid of him for the right price. Now, unfortunately, you did mention you want to trade for him, but I think teams are getting, unless a team really, really wants him, and I hope that is the case, and they pursue him and they give us a valuable pick. But I think a lot of teams are realizing that the Niners don't want really to keep him, and the Niners may cut him. Now, I don't see why they would do it, though. So I don't think we'll get a number 1 or a 2. I think if we get a 3 for him, we're getting a pretty good value, depending on the team. You know what I would love is to maybe trade him in our 11th spot and move up. maybe like with the Jaguars, they may need a Debo type of receiver. We get their 5, they get our 11 and Debo, and then we can go ahead and pick Mason Graham out of Michigan. Something like that will be nice. Or if we can move up in the second round with a team that may need a receiver, I hope they work it out like that, so that we can get maybe not necessarily a great pick, but just the opportunity to move up for a player that the Niners are coveting and going after. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. I know teams have been calling the Niners for a youth, which I thought it was a little interesting. Teams had been inquiring about the services of Brandon Ayuk, and John Lynch said that every call they'll take. Now, will they entertain it? That's one thing, but they'll take every call and they'll listen to every team. If the price is really right for Ayuk, would you consider moving on from him?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if a team offered you a second and a third, a high second and a third for Kittle, would you take it?
No.
Why?
I'm sorry, but I know George Kittle, obviously, like everybody knows he's my favorite player, but at the same time, he's just on and off the field, he's a true Niner. And that's the type of player and person that you want in your organization. And when I said, the antics of Debo and stuff like that, that's not who the 49ers are. That's not who the organization. This is like a storied franchise, and we don't have time for that. So I'm glad to see Debo go. I know John Lynch said that, there could be a scenario where he stays. I highly doubt it. But good luck to him. If teams are really interested in Brandon Ayuk, you know what? Hey, it is what it is. But yeah, that's my stance on it.
Yeah, it's really hard to get a receiver that kind of acts like George Kittle. It's very rare. Jerry Rice, people love Jerry Rice. I love Jerry Rice, but you put the antics of Debo and Ayuk together, and Rice was still worse when it came to antics on the field. The only difference was there was no social media, so we were not able to see it. We were not able to hear about it. But he was one of the worst when it came. He was a what do you call it? What I said earlier, prima donna receiver. He wanted the ball. He always complained about the ball. And I thought it surprised me because I always thought he was kind of like a team player. Now, one thing about Rice, he gave you 100% on the field, and I love that about him. But I think all receivers are like that. I don't know if it's in the DNA or in the water when it comes to receivers. But when was the last time you heard a receiver that you could say, man, for being a receiver, he's maybe Dwight Clark. Dwight Clark was a one that I can think of. Is there a Niner receiver you can think of that kind of reminds you of the Kittle? Because like the Kittles, the Frank Gores, you can tell those teams love to play for the Niners. They represented the Niners the way the Niners need to be represented. Although Jerry Rice did, don't get me wrong, he was a diva on the field wanting the ball, but he was never disrespecting the team. He was never talking bad about the team. So none of that. So I just want to make sure that I'm clear on that. But is there a receiver that you can remember playing for the Niners that kind of gave you that same feeling of what you feel for Kittle on the way how he loves the team and the way he plays?
I don't know. I don't have a receiver, but I would say a linebacker by the name of Patrick Willis.
Okay. That's a good one.
Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis, a true, another true 49er. Currently, Like, I could actually see Ricky Pearsall being that person.
You know, it's funny when you say Ricky. Ricky, obviously, we don't know him personally, so it's kind of guessing. Ricky looks like, at least to me, he's kind of like in the middle, like depending who takes a hold. Like if he goes under Kittle and really watches Kittle and learns from Kittle, I can see him becoming exactly like a Kittle. And what I mean by that, I think someone like Ricky Pearsall is very influential. He can get influenced one way or the other. Depends who takes him. If someone like a Hugh takes him under his wings, or you know what I mean. But I do like Parcell. I think the kid's going to be special. I'm glad you brought him up because I think he's going to be special with the team in 2025. He showed a little bit of insight and what he can do. Now, people need to remember the kid started rough in 2024 when he got drafted. I mean, the kid gets shot. Shouldn't even be alive, but by the grace of God, he survived that ordeal. He was already dealing with an injury. Started late his NFL career. And then a couple of games towards the end of the year, he started to pop off pretty amazingly. So I forgot what team he had his best game against, but the kid looks promising. I'm excited to see a whole complete offseason with him and see what this kid can do. I think this kid is special. And I think we got a real one. And now I'm not concerned. I'm curious what we have in Jacob Cowing. I like Jacob
Actually,
Cowing.
Ricky Pearsall actually had his best game against the Lions.
Was it the Lions? Okay. I don't remember
Yeah.
what team it was, but I knew he had an 8 good game. So it was the Lions. Okay, good. Yeah. But Jacob Cowing is a kid that I really liked out of Arizona. He didn't get that much playing time last year because you had every receiver healthy other than Ayuk, but you had Purcell, you had help me out here, number 15, Jawan Jennings playing good football. So he didn't get that much opportunity, but I think in 2025, watch out for that name. I think that kid is going to be a great punt returner and a great in slot receiver, kind of like the I forgot the name of the receiver who used to play for New England. There was a slot. He has like a TV show now, but
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman type of a player. So I like him. I really do. I'm excited about that. And the draft picks that we took last year were amazing. Dominic Pooney, great pick. Mustafa, great pick. Ronaldo Green, great pick. And so on. The Niners really hit it in 2024. Jess, do you think the Niners are going to go the same route in 2025? Where, if you notice the difference between 2024 and 2023, they didn't go for potential players that could be potentially good. They went for players that played 4 years in college, that has experience. And to me, that seemed to pay off because every player that we drafted played pretty damn good and has a lot of promise. Now, if you start going to 6 rounds, 7 rounds, it is what it is. But do you think the Niners go that similar route where they go after players that have experience in college instead of the possible potential, kind of like a Trey Lance? He had a lot of potential but didn't work out type of player.
I don't think. I think last year was one of the best drafts of this regime.
I agree.
I know they've selected George Kittle and Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, but I think last year was one of the best drafts. This year is actually kind of an important offseason, and it's an important draft. I don't see them going with players who could have potential. Um, that really hasn't worked out well. Um, so I definitely see them, selecting players with the experience, with the ball skills on both sides of the ball. Um, but this draft is going to be telling, how much they want it. I think last year was a true gut punch for this regime. As a fan, I feel like it was a true gut punch. As fans, I think we're a little bit spoiled. But I'm just looking forward to this coming season. I wish they announced the schedule a little bit earlier than they do because I want to start planning ahead. But yeah, I think this is just it's an important off season for the 49ers for sure.
Yeah, hear you. Real quick, now that you mentioned it, how many games? I know you're in the individual, you and your sweet mom love to go to games, and you visited other stadiums, which I think is, I don't know, I think it's more fun watching your team play in someone else's yard than your own sometimes because you get the boos and you get all this craziness, but then when your team beats them, you kind of sense you walk out with that sense of pride. Not that you don't do it in Levi's, but I don't know. Tell me what the experience is watching the Niners win at Levi's compared to watching them beat another team in their hometown and walking out of it with a dub.
The faithful travel really well. So to me, sometimes, like certain games, it kind of feels like a home game, especially when, the Niners are winning and all the home team fans like start to, trickle out of the stadium. And then that's all that's left is you hear the Let's Go Niners chant. Um, so that's actually pretty cool. I do love going to away games. I mean, I do like going to Levi Stadium as well. But this coming year, we do play the Giants. The Niners will be in New Jersey for it, so I'm really looking forward to that game. And then, we'll see what happens. We'll see what pans out.
Not MetLife. We're playing there this year?
Yep.
Okay. You know what, Bosa? You do not play that game. No, yeah, we don't want one of
I
those
know
years.
they got the turf monster.
Yeah, that's one of the worst fields, man.
Yeah.
I hate turf. Natural grass is the way to go. White teams go. I don't know. I love what Arizona does. Arizona has the dome, but I love the way they have natural grass and they're able to pull it out so it can get watered and rained on and the whole night, and then they
Yep.
can bring it right in. I mean, if you're gonna put money, kind of like what the Rams did with their beautiful stadium, it's a beautiful stadium. What we like to call Levi South. But they have turf. They don't have natural grass, and I don't understand why they don't do that. Leave it a year alone. Why they don't do that? So we'll see. I'm going to be excited about the draft. Real quick, not to put you on the spot. You don't have to answer because it's still too much time between now and then. But are you looking to doing a show in the draft, at least the first round, like we did last year? Keep that momentum going.
I think we had discussed that already. So yeah.
I can't remember what I said yesterday, girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I wrote it down somewhere. So, okay, just double checking. No, the yellow bird, see the one with the yellow chest? He's very
Yeah.
curious. The other one just chills, relax. He's the male. The other one's a female. So she just kind of kicks back and then but the male, look at, very curious. Every little thing, my earrings, my ear, and just, hold on. Get away. All right. Give him something else to think about. So I look forward to the draft. So I'm excited that we're picking 11th overall. So it'll be fun. So those that are watching now will tune in later on. We will come up with a draft date on draft day. We will go live, myself and Jess, and we'll talk 49ers, and we'll break down the players that they should pick, and we'll see who's right, me or Jess. We'll make it a little competition between Jess and I. And not only for the Niners, but we'll pick a player for each team. And if that team picks that player, we'll score points. And at the end of the draft, we'll see who wins that draft, me or Jess. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I
Little
think that. Yeah, definitely.
one-on-one, pick a player, so forth. So tune in for that, guys. Tune in for that. So moving on to another topic. Kyle Juszczyk is going to make a lot of money in 2025. I believe his amount against the cap or his cap number is 6 million. Where is it? Let it
Yeah.
pop up. 6,496,750. For the type of work that he's done now, he has slowed down in his production. He's going to be 34 in April. Do you think the Niners go to him and try to reschedule that contract, bring down that hit, or do you think they move on from him?
Well, last year they asked him to take a pay cut, and he almost didn't, and he would have gotten released if he didn't. So that's definitely a player to watch as far as like being released. And in all honesty, it depends what they do in the draft. So you really can't, like free agency, the draft, like, all we could do is really speculate at this point. But I think that's definitely a person to watch that'll be on the chopping block.
Yeah, I hear you. There is a player that is not on the offensive line, not on the defensive line. Um, he's the second best player in the draft at the position that I'm going to mention. I think overall he's the best corner coming out of the draft. Now, a lot of people like Hunter because Hunter can play both receiver and corner. But this kid, Will Johnson, I like. Do you think the Niners can surprise a lot of people and take a corner with that 11 spot? Not necessarily taking a guy like a D tackle or an edge, or do you think most likely they're going to go Will Johnson out of Michigan? Is the kid that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I would be surprised if we went O-line at 11. I would be surprised if we took Tyler Warren at 11. I would be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if we took a cornerback. I wouldn't be defensive side of the ball, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know why. I guess because, we've always chosen defense. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised. But I don't really think that they go O-line. Um, again, I would be surprised if we went tight end, or I'd be pissed if we went wide receiver. Because this isn't a really great wide receiver draft. And to pick at 11, it's got to be somebody who's gonna start and make an impact.
Yeah, I wanted to bring up real quickly. You know what? Let me get out of this screen, and then we'll move on to our next topic, which is the coaching. There's some changes that were made at the coaching position.
Yeah, brain greasy as you have it.
Did I put brain? I did this at the
Yeah.
last minute. I'll change it.
No, it's okay.
Did I? Where? Hold on. Typo.
When I saw those coaching changes, I thought it was like a complete list, right?
Uh-huh.
So I didn't see Bobby Turner, I didn't see Chris Kosarek, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, what happened to them? Then I realized it was just a list of, promotions. So, and then I saw that Brian Greasy wasn't there, and he stepped away to be with his family, and that's fine. Hopefully Mick Lombardi makes a good impact on Brock Purdy, just like Brian Greasy did.
Yeah. Now Nick Lombardi was there last year. Now he's stepping up. I'm curious to see what he does in that position. Now, a lot of people are speculating that Brian Greasy, this or that. From what I heard from John Lynch, that he just decided to step down. He didn't want to coach anymore. He wanted to spend time with his family, which people don't realize what a toll it takes on a coach doing things for their family. missing out on the family, the hours they put in the office. They go like 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning. They leave at 7 o'clock at night. And a lot of times it's a little too much. A little too much. So I expect maybe him to be back in a little bit later in a year or so if he wants to coach. But he turned down, I think, who offered him a head coach? Somebody out New Orleans or somebody, and he turned it down. I think he's going to do more broadcasting than he does coaching. So I wish him the best. Nick Lombardi, you are up, and let's see what you can do.
Yeah, I mean, Mick was around last year, like you said, so I mean, it's not really like a huge change. But we'll see what happens. And I'm on Instagram right now, and per Matt Barrows, Robert Saleh has reportedly been putting on a full court press and making calls to Dre Greenlaw, telling him he wants him to come back.
I don't think Greenlaw has a problem coming back. He just wants to come back and get paid what he feels he deserves. Are the Niners willing to? I don't know. We'll see. That's an interesting topic that we probably won't get in today because it'll take us another hour. But I love Greenlaw. I would love for Greenlaw to continue to stay here and play alongside Fred Warner. But there's a lot of naysay here and there. People, you hear stories. In the off seasons when you hear a lot of gossip, you hear a lot of this or that. People are saying he wants to be a star, like the main guy on a defense, like Fred Warner, so he's seeking to go somewhere else. You never know. A lot of times I wonder, as a player, you hear all this crap, and you're like, that's not true. You know what I mean? Like, he don't want to be with the Niners. He wants to be a Fred Warner, and he's probably sitting there at home saying, I never said that. You know what I mean? So you can never go what people say. I hope they bring him back. The fact that Robert Saleh is lobbying for him, it's a good sign. I know that Greenlaw has a lot of respect for Robert Saleh. And you saw the difference that this kid makes. You saw it in the Super Bowl. The minute he went down, we went downhill. We couldn't defend Kelsey anymore. Last year, he hasn't played all year. He was hurt. The first couple of, which I don't know if it was just the first quarter or second quarter, when he came in against the Rams couldn't move the ball. And the minute he went back out because he was hurt again, then the Rams were able to move the ball. So anyone that says that Greenlaw doesn't affect that defense is crazy. I would love to see that happen. If anybody can do it, it definitely can be Robert Saleh. So I'm rooting for him. Go out and bring him back.
I'd like to see Dre Greenlaw back. He's definitely a tone setter, and one of those, an impact player. And yeah, if he didn't get hurt in the Super Bowl, we probably would have been Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, I mean, that special teams turnover, that one really hurt.
I mean, the other stuff didn't help.
Yeah.
But I just think things would have went differently.
The Christian McCaffrey fumble didn't help either, but
yeah.
But that was devastating, Jess. But I don't know about you, but when Greenlaw was running back in and he got hurt, it felt like the whole air was taken out of everyone. Yeah. You saw Fred Warner look down at it, and he knew. And you could just see the devastation in his face. And it was just too hard to recover. You're absolutely right. I think if Greenlaw, I mean, there's no absolutes, but based on how the game was going up to that point, the Niners could have definitely won it. And we only lost, I mean, loss is a loss, but we only lost it by 3 points.
Yep.
So, but neither here or there. They won, we lost. So I would love to see Greenlaw back and pair up with Fred Warner. If they can bring Greenlaw back, pair up with Fred Warner, and then bring that kid, that linebacker, no. Would you let go of my earring? That's not for you, girlfriend. Wants to get my earring off of me. I forgot the name of the kid from the Jets. He's a heck of a linebacker.
Jamie and Sherwood.
I think, yeah, I think that's him. If they bring him in, because that kid raves about Saleh. If Saleh can get him in here, oh my goodness! Now we're talking in the backfield with those three guys. I think that'll be freaking sweet to watch those three back there, and the Niners will be able to play more quarters out there instead of and be able to do man. So it's funny how a player or a position can change your whole scheme of defense, and Robert Saleh will be able to do his thing as well. So these real quick, these are the coaches and the position, new titles. The one that I didn't even know he was on the team, to be honest with you, it was Ronald Blair. Do you remember Ronald Blair?
Yeah, I know he was with us last year. He was
he?
I think he was a defensive assistant. Yeah.
So he's going to be a special teams quality control. You got Colt Anderson, assistant special teams. Gus Bradley, which I think this guy is great. Assistant head coach of defense. I think he's going to be, him and Robert Saleh are going to put their heads together and bring out some great defensive calls. These two guys, oh my goodness, it's going to be fun to watch. Ray Brown, not the guard that we had a couple years ago. He comes from Boston, a defensive back. No, Roxy. And cornerback. Chris Forrester gets a new position, new title position. He is now assistant head coach of the offensive line. People are like, who cares about the title, right? I'm like, it comes with money. So
Yeah.
the title may not be all whatever, but if you get more money, I welcome that anytime. I don't care what title you give me, as long as I get a bump and raise in financially. Joe Graves, offensive assistant and quarterback. He's going to be assisting Nick Lombardi. You got Patrick Hogdorn. If I messed up, I apologize. Chief of Staff of Football, Leonard Nickerson. He is a wide receiver, passing game specialist. Andrew Hayes, offensive assistant wide receivers. Clay Kubiak, he's now officially the offensive coordinator. And yes, Kyle does call plays, but like Kyle said, Clay has a lot to say. People don't realize just because Kyle calls the plays into the quarterback doesn't necessarily that's the play that he put together. Clay Kubiak puts plays together, but only one person is the one that is able to contact the quarterback ear and the helmet, and that's our coach, Kyle. But Clay, just like Mike McDaniels did when he was here, and then he got the opportunity to become head coach. We'll see what happens with Clay. You got Nick Lombardi, who we said quarterbacks coach. Jake Lynch, the son of John Lynch, for those that didn't know. He is stepping in as defensive quality control, entry level, of course. Got to start somewhere. But it's nice to have a dad that brings in and works with this kid. That's awesome. We got Greg, assistant defensive line, and then Jacob, offensive quality control. Those are the new titles. You know what, Roxy? You get in on my nerves. Oh, really? That's on my head. Okay. And those are the new titles for the San Francisco 49ers. A lot of new faces as well. A lot of similar faces just got promoted. But I'm glad to see Clay Kubiak get that title. And I held a little bit, back a little bit because of the whole Ronnie rule where you have to interview a minority person to get that. But they were going to give it to him. That was a promotion, not a hire from the outside. I heard some people like, they don't give other people a chance. I'm like, they promoted him. And then so they had to, And then people are like, but it's not fair that the people come in and interview for that spot knowing that they're not going to get the job. And I tell them, you know what I told those people? Not that they listen to you because they don't know who I am, but I tell them anyway. When you go up to Kyle and you interview, whether you get the job or not, you're going to get an opportunity to showcase what you know, your knowledge, your ability, and you never know. Kyle might look at you and like, hey, you surprised me. I may not hire you for this, but I'm going to keep your name in mind because you know what? If I want this, I might bring you in for that. So interviewing, even if you don't get the job, in my personal opinion, it's not a bad thing when you can showcase what you're made of and who you are. So anyway, moving on from that, I'm excited to this offseason to get to free agency. We'll talk about that more down the line. Is there a name out there, Jess, that you been wanting the Niners to take a look at? Forget about the financials for a moment. I tell people that all the time. Sometimes a player makes sense financially, sometimes they don't, but let's forget about the financials just for the sake of conversation. Is there a player out there that is a free agent and you're like, man, if he can come to the Niners, this team can be crazy good?
Well, I think we need a vet in the wide receiver room. We don't know when Brandon Ayuk is coming back. Right now, it's Ricky Pearsall, Jacob Cowing, Juwan Jennings, and that's it. So I would like to see T. Higgins. Again, I'm not not looking at the financials, nothing,
Correct,
whether we can
correct.
afford him or not. But I would like to see T. Higgins because we definitely need a wide receiver, another wide receiver in the wide receiver room for sure.
That's an interesting name. Yeah. And that's the reason why I mentioned no financials because, with the finances, that's probably going to be hard to do. But it's nice to imagine, right? Man, what would a player like Higgins be on this team? Now, there is a player that is pretty good and probably won't cost that much. And that is, he is with the Jets right now. I can't think of his name. Help me out here.
For wide receiver,
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson.
Who?
Oh, Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams, yes. No, Garrett Wilson is not going anywhere. Devontae Adams, I think
Well, you know what? You never know.
Well, you're going to have to give a high draft pick for him, though. I don't see the Niners. Well, okay, if that doesn't matter either, that would be a great add-on. But Devontae Adams, I think he brings in what a pro receiver is. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He likes to play with Aaron, but he's not Aaron. People are like, we're not getting an Aaron Rodgers. We're getting a Devontae Adams who is a good receiver, a vet, like you said. It can definitely carry this team until Ayuk comes back. So I will see. And he's going to get let go. So I don't even think they're going to need to trade for him. That'll be a nice pickup. Before we get out of here, Jess, I'm interested to hear your perspective on this. I don't know about you. I'm tired of hearing it. I don't want to hear it no more. But you might have a different perspective. This whole crap of bringing in Aaron Rodgers to the 49ers is just, to me, I don't know, like I say, I really don't know your perspective on this. I want to hear it. But to me, it's just ludicrous. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, I don't know if they just hate Brock that much or they really believe. I don't know what they're watching. They live in this island where the Aaron Rodgers, when he was an MVP, was coming here. I will consider it. But that's not who we're getting. We're getting an Aaron Rodgers that's washed up, that had a decent year last year, but he wasn't better than Brock. So at this point in his career, he's not an upgrade to Brock. Maybe when he was an MVP back with the Packers, I might consider it. What are your thoughts on that? Are you like opposed to it, or you're like, yeah, they should, or are you like me, where you just sick and tired of it?
It is tiresome, but like it is the off season, so every quarterback that can potentially be available, every fan wants the Niners to pick up. Um, but at the same time, you have Aaron Rodgers with his personality, and you have Kyle Shanahan with his personality, who wants to run the offense a certain way, and that relationship would never work. So there
Yeah,
you have it.
yeah, yeah. Nobody's fooling themselves with that. And even if it worked 1 game, 2 games, it'll fall apart mid-season like you'll never believe. And then what do you do to? Then I tell people, what do you do with Brock? What do you don't sign him? And then in a year from now, when Aaron Rodgers can't play no more, now you're looking for another quarterback again. Now you're in the quarterback carousel where you're looking for a quarterback. Brock's not going to want to sign here after that. That's like a slap in the face. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. Just people are just, they want a name because of what they did and how they played, and not realize the implications of what we have now. I'm a firm believer in Brock. I think Brock is a very good quarterback. I think this kid,
I
we
agree.
can win a Super Bowl. We can win a Super Bowl with him. And the whole idea that a quarterback, he can only play good if he's surrounded with great players. Name me a quarterback that doesn't take advantage of that.
Right.
You can get, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. Yes, he can extend plays with his legs, but he still needs somebody to catch the ball. He still needs somebody to be able to catch and have yards after the catch. It really baffles me when people say, if you take away the Avengers, Nick, right, from Brock Purdy, he's not good. When you take away the Avengers from any quarterback, they're not that
They're
great.
not good. Yeah.
No. So can Brock Purdy play in the Kyle's system? Yes. Is he barely handling it? No, he thrives in it. He understands it. I don't get it. I just don't. I understand, like you said, it's the off season. People are going to speculate this or that, but if you're talking about a player that makes sense because we lack that in the position on the team, fine. If you're talking about bringing in someone like Myles Garrett, even though that's probably won't happen, but you talk about that, I will entertain that. Why? Because he will be great alongside a Bosa. But when you talk about Aaron Rodgers or any quarterback right now, unless it's Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, that's the only two, or Lamar Jackson actually, that I would consider entity. But other than that, I don't want to hear it. I think Brock Purdy is excellent. I think he makes great plays. Did he have a little bit of a down year? Yeah. But the whole team was freaking devastated with injuries. So,
He actually still did pretty well.
yeah, absolutely. The whole people that are ready to give up on Brock, I just don't. People have called me, what do they call that when you kind of kiss up to the Niners? That's a word for it. But
Homer.
a homer, thank you. Yeah, you're such a Brock homer. I'm like, I watched the kid play. I watch his tape. Is he a Joe Burrow? I think he can do a lot of things, Joe Burrow. Is he a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, or a Patrick Mahomes? No, but I don't need him to be that. I need him to play his best with his abilities in this system. Does he guide his receivers? Does he throw with anticipation? Yes. Is he able to escape with his legs? Yes. Is he accurate? Yes. The hardest place to be accurate is down the middle, and that's where he thrives in.
Hmm.
I don't understand what Niner fans want. I really don't. You get a quote. I mean, have they forgotten? We'll close with this, Jess. Have they forgotten about the Tim Rattays? Oh my God, the
JT O'Sullivan.
the JT O'Sullivan. Yeah, I mean, have you forgotten all these bad quarterback play? You finally got a quarterback that you can win with. Now, when we went to the Super Bowl in 2019, it wasn't because of Jimmy. The defense carried that team. And Jimmy was not a factor on that Super Bowl. I can say one thing for sure. And 2 years ago, the Super Bowl, when we lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, it wasn't because of Brock Purdy. He never turned the ball over. He never put the ball in harm's way. He took us to overtime to win that game without Greenlaw.
Yep.
And people still want to say that Brock Purdy is not good enough. Well, I don't know. I guess he never will be in their minds. They already have focus. And I really believe Brock Purdy can win a Super Bowl, and they'll still say he's not good enough. But with that said, just let those viewers that are watching now or will be watching in the replay what you got going on your channel. I know you have been having some great guests. I think the last person you had, or maybe it's been a minute now, but it's the beat writer. I can't think of his name.
Matt Barrows.
Matt Barrows, yeah. So
Yeah,
she
we
has
had
great
we had Matt Barrows on last
I'm
week.
going to put
We
your
had
solo,
John
so
Lund on.
prepare.
We had Matt Barrows on last week. We had John Lund on 2 weeks ago. It's the East Coast Red and Gold podcast. We're on every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's myself, Ty Alston, Maddie B, and your girl Bex. Go over there, like and subscribe, and go Niners.
There you go. So make sure you give her a follow. She's growing her channel. She's doing an amazing job there, hosting that with a great team. So make sure to support her. Jess, always been fun talking football with you. Look forward to next Thursday. Go Niners. And hopefully by next Thursday, we'll have a little bit more of the combine. And we'll see where we go from there. I can't wait to talk free agency with you once it happens. So, and then I'm looking forward definitely for the draft. So that'll be exciting. Everyone in the channel watching right now that remain with us, thank you so much for your faithfulness. I always say the MVP is always you guys that support the channel. Hang out with us. We appreciate you. Make sure to hit the like button on your way out. Have a wonderful day and God bless. And we'll see you next week. Same time, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Go ahead, Jess. Say it one more time. Go
Niners.
We're out of here.